Welcome to the Roundtable Podcast, guys.
Hey.
We know how it is. It take a second for everybody, whoever started to share, because of the situation now with Facebook in terms of not being able to do the
watch party any longer.
Yeah, and different things. But whatever, we get it. Everybody should have that same setup. Who's watching Facebook or trying to do live, they know what time it is, right?
That's right.
But anyway, guys, we ask you to like and share this page so that it can get, so that we can see it. What you want to blow it up?
Yeah.
So we can see. It was over here, but I don't know. But anyway, so that they can, other people can see it later on. You know, we're out here. We still come on every Sunday at 4:30, 4:45, maybe 4:45. I would say that. We still come on giving you interesting topics with interesting guests that will come on to the show. Guys, we would love for you to join. We would love for you to leave your comments. Share your comments. This platform, we definitely love to talk back with our audience. Especially if they're making sense, right? So, but anyway, guys, we got a couple of interesting.
Sometimes when they don't, Tom.
That's right. That's right. That's right. We still talk back with them. But guys, listen, we have an interesting topic that we're going to talk about today. But guys, how was your weekend? How was your day? You know how we go through it, and it's a nice day out here.
Absolutely gorgeous day. I had to just go get the car washed.
That's what I want to do.
It was so nice.
I think it caught me off guard because I didn't expect it to be nice today. I guess I didn't, because it's just been cold. Yeah. I just assumed this was another cold day.
And I could have swore they said it was going to rain today, but it actually kind of, rained like for a quick second yesterday when I was, not needing it to rain. But today is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is, most definitely.
Did it rain yesterday?
Where I am, it did, just for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. We were out and about, and it was a nice day. It was yesterday was a nice day. I guess Michigan, the weather's starting to change, right? The season's starting to make sense with the weather, right? Hopefully it'll stay, and we won't be back in the 50s next week, right?
Right.
So, but I don't know. Is it anything to do out here? Is
with COVID going on? Is it a lot of stuff to do? Really?
Is things still shut down, or what's going on, guy?
I think things are opened up, but at some limited capacity. But they were always fine with outdoor. So places have patios and outdoor space. I'm pretty sure you can access those spaces.
And I think Governor Whitmore, I think she was encouraging them to eat outside instead of inside of the actual facility. But I don't think that's, because when you go into places like Starbucks, you still see the setup where it's not really, you could sit in there. Different places, you still have that limited space. So to speak. People are still kind of like, I don't know, maybe go eat outside. So it's still that type of setup. So
I think like you say, the world is kind of changing, because they were saying that cruise ships were going to be able to sell out again, and you hear a lot about people wanting to pack their bags and go somewhere. So, but I think you just have to know, you have to be wise. And like you said, not forget, what we're still dealing with out there.
Yeah.
And take, universal precaution, or precaution that is needed for where you're going and what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because see, I think now going like across seas, I think that you have to have the jab. You have to have the jab if you enter into different countries. But now, so far, doing like, local, flying to Atlanta, Florida, they just checking your temperature. I don't even remember them checking our temperature.
No.
They didn't take your temperature?
No, they didn't even check our temperature. No, I don't remember them. They didn't check
on the air flight.
Yeah, on Spirit.
Oh,
Spirit don't care. Spirit don't care. They just listen. Only thing that they had,
I don't know if I could do Spirit, y'all. I don't know.
Yeah, Spirit is it can get a little shaky on Spirit. But I'm gonna tell you this.
Shaky ain't the word.
Yeah, because when we flew out Delta. Delta was a lot better. Delta. And then there's a whole different setup with Delta. And now I'm gonna be honest, we did Delta because when we went to Vegas, it was 4 hours.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make sure we was comfortable. But when we did going to just Florida, it didn't matter. Like we supposed to fly out again.
Yeah, on the 21st.
On the 20th, to go to Atlanta.
So y'all out there then? Y'all out there?
Business. On this trip is about business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's it's still, they kept telling us to make sure you have your mask on. They kept running at home. Delta, when we first got on it the first time, they gave everybody hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
so you wipe down everything.
Yeah,
Spirit
they gave us a snack bag and everything.
Yeah, Spirit just said get on the plane.
Just get on.
If you're going. If you're going, get on the plane.
For real.
Yeah, but now I'm gonna say this. Shout out to Spirit. They do make sure that everybody have their mask on. They made sure that, it felt safe. You didn't feel like your space was violated. They don't do the seating thing no more where you skipping seats. So they don't do that no more. But you are, I thought it was, in terms of the safety, I thought they did a good job. They just didn't check your temperature. They didn't check your temperature. At least I'm just trying to think, do I remember? I don't remember them doing that.
No, I don't remember either.
Not even through TSA.
Right.
I don't remember them doing that at all. Wow. Now that I think about it. But anyway, I guess all I'm saying is be safe. You know, be safe out there. Just because the weather is nice, don't mean we go tripping. Because when people start getting relaxed and it's hot out, next thing you know, you in the hospital and it's done ran back up. So you definitely have to be safe out here. That's not our path to go tripping. Be safe. And that's pretty much about it in terms of that. But guys, I guess this topic that we're going to talk on today, shortly, we had a
special guest,
but because we don't know what's going on with the guest, maybe we should resend him another invite. Maybe we should send him another invite, producer, to see if something will happen with that. But we're talking about the mental health of the law enforcement. Mental health of law enforcement. We had someone that would come on who was in law enforcement
for over 10 years.
Over 10 years, who could talk on this, and we can ask him questions.
He sounded like he had a really interesting, story.
Definitely.
And I don't. Where was he from? Was he from Michigan? Or?
I don't know.
He was from Indiana.
Okay, Indiana. Yeah. And guys, the reason why we wanted to talk about this is because of all of the different incidents that's been going on in America in terms of, you know what's going on. I don't want to just throw it out there like we beating up people. And this is not to beat up law enforcement, because we're not trying to do that. There's bad apples in everything we do. There's always somebody who don't really get it, right? And especially after the trial of Derek Chauvin, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce his name. And see, here's the thing. After that, it seemed like even more incidents have happened with police enforcement.
It
seemed like it's gotten like no one's getting the picture. You know what I mean? And now it's
so
more.
we're wondering if there's some mental issues going on. You know, we're not psychologists or anything, but we're just kind of gonna just talk on statistics that we have and things of that nature, because we have, like I said, we are not psychologists or things of that nature, but we're just gonna talk on statistics and information that we found.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. I mean, because of just being concerned about what's going on. Is it just we're being picked on as a race of people, or is it some things going on mentally with some of our law enforcement? And
so we're gonna play the video so we can kind of get a little, glimpse of, so we can kind of get into what it is that we're going to.
Do we want to play it now, or we want to still give them a chance to come on? But just go ahead and play it.
Well, we can go ahead and play it.
Okay, let's just go ahead and play it, and maybe we'll just talk about it.
The danger.
Shots fired.
The tragedy.
A baby in the car too.
And the emotional consequences.
That is a life-changing experience.
An NBC 10 investigation is looking at the alarming consequences of being a cop.
For months, NBC-owned television station worked with the Fraternal Order of Police, surveying thousands of officers about their mental health. Investigative reporter Mitch Blocker has the results.
These guys might be armed, or at least have guns in their houses.
Philly Police Sergeant Andrew Callahan is getting ready to serve a warrant.
If somebody gets hurt, put them in the car in the front.
It's work that almost cost him his life.
They call it a near-death experience.
25 years later, he can't forget firing his gun to defend himself.
A lot of cops walk around, and I was one of them, saying, but it's not going to happen to me.
He says he won't forget his reaction. Sleepless nights and a depression, he says, led to a post-traumatic stress diagnosis.
All of a sudden, I started to have problems, and I didn't know what it was. I just literally thought I was cracking up.
He's not alone. Critical stress is part of police work. In Philly, cops aren't only policing, they're taking crime victims to the hospital and burying friends and colleagues all too often.
I knew then it was time for me to step down because I just couldn't bury another police officer.
Philadelphia's former police commissioner Charles Ramsey retired when a fifth officer in 9 months died under his command.
When you lose that many people in that short a period of time, you get this sense of it's just not safe out there. You know, your life is constantly at risk.
Responding to trauma creates trauma. That's according to nearly 8,000 police from all over the country, nearly 500 of them from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. 78% told us they've experienced critical stress on the job. 68% say that stress led to unresolved emotional issues. 16% told us they thought of suicide.
They take that same baggage home that I take home, and I'm not doing their job 24/7.
Jason Dawkins grew up in the North Philly neighborhood he now represents. The state representative walked us through his district. In the last 6 months, home to 7 homicides, 22 rapes, and 138 aggravated assaults.
I want to make sure that there's some safeguards that's put in place for our community and for our officers.
So he's introducing a bill requiring all Pennsylvania law enforcement to get a mental health screening every 2 years. But right now, it does not include money for treatment.
How do you do it without money?
So I think there's nothing that can really happen without money these days when we're talking about the legislature. I think things that are important we find money for, and I think our officers are worth the investment.
Okay, thanks. Let me know if he goes back in the house with it.
You'll get no argument from this veteran cop. His experience inspired him to go back to school. He's now a certified employee assistance professional and counsels hundreds of police officers every year.
No cop should ever have to walk alone again.
Now, one of the hardest parts of this reporting was getting police officers to talk about their mental health. 90% of the officers surveyed told us that there's a stigma that prevents them from talking about mental health. Statistically speaking, there is a real need for treatment. Last year across the United States, 140 police officers committed suicide.
Let's cut. See, and guys, what do we think about that video? What do we think about that?
Well, so we still see that there is a need for mental health screening with a lot of law enforcement, which, you know, like he said, there's a stigma about them, you know, coming forth and say, I got an issue. I mean, I got a mental health issue that's going on, because they don't want to come forth. And so that really is a bad domino effect, So
well, and they, screening is definitely, that's like step number one. But like the gentleman was saying in the piece, you gotta be ready to treat as well. I mean, screening is great. But once they identify as, suicidal, depressed, PTSD complex, like all these levels of just brokenness, are they ready to, treat it once, because the statistics, like you said, are pretty decent. You're talking 28 to 30%. Or, what they mentioned in terms of even 16% thinking of suicide, So
yeah, and it is evidence suggests that exposure to law enforcement work is associated with increases in many forms of stress, including physical, psychosocial, and anticipatory, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, stress. And human genetics, environmental science, University of Health Science Center officers are exposed to traumatic calls for service on a daily basis, including child abuse, domestic violence, car crashes, homicides. Repeated exposure to these type of stresses and events may be associated with the development of mental health illnesses.
Yes, so we have some comments here while you was talking. What if read some of them? What did Stephen
say? The stress is too great to have someone who isn't mentally prepared for the job. He said something else too previously. I sympathize as sometimes you forget police officers are still human, despite the fact they signed up for the job and knew what comes with it. But yes, help is needed.
See, and I think one of the issues could be, I obviously could be wrong, but do they think they're going to get backlash? Because they're going through a stressful thing, far as it could be at the home, and make it seem like they can't do their job. And do they feel like they can possibly lose their job because they probably think, you know what I mean? Like, what is the reason that they won't come up front and say, hey, listen, I had a bad day today. I need to talk to somebody. Is there anyone you think I can go? And maybe, you know what I mean? If just talking, letting that person know, like the sergeant, I need to talk to somebody. You know what I mean? And then, they work all of these long hours. I remember Detroit had a time where they were working these long hours and they felt like they wasn't getting paid. And they was working all these long hours. And, you can only take so much. We know even us, if we're doing something that could be stressful, it affects us.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes out of you. You know what I mean? Because you're in that stress level where you might say something that you shouldn't say or anything because of the pressures that's on you. You're tired, physically, mentally tired. You don't know if this going to be that day. You know what I mean? Where you're going to have to really draw the gun and use the gun.
Or the gun be used on you.
Yeah, the gun used on you. So we can't say that they don't have situations where they need to talk to somebody. They need to talk to somebody, and it will just be really dumbfounded of us to just think that they're superhuman.
Right.
So when they come on the job, they have to perform. Yeah, they still have to perform, and they still have to perform on a certain level. What do you guys think about that?
Well, like I want to go back to what you were saying, like the points that you were making earlier on. Is I think it talks about the stigma, right, that's attached, because when you talked about, are they embarrassed or is there shame attached to asking for help, and we have to remember that, the police, can I say that, or what's the word?
You can say it.
Okay, law enforcement.
Yeah, law enforcement.
Historically, you know what I mean, holds a lot of values and mores, and that spills into their practices and the blue code and the, so you have like this culture that kind of perpetuates like hyper masculinity and this box of what it means to be, you know what I mean. So you have those very rigid ideas about who they are or what defines them as a good cop or whatever the case, that I think help kind of, again, perpetuates stigma of reaching out for help when you need it.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes to that superhuman perception, you know what I'm saying, that they carry out and execute, but you know, we also put that on them as well when we think they're superhuman, and they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna be broken by all of this, you know, stress and crisis that they're constantly dealing with, you know. So
I got some statistics. It says symptoms of PTSD were frequently endorsed. For example, 30% of officers reported having intrusive thoughts or nightmares, and 22% reported avoiding situations or places that reminded them of a traumatic event.
And see, that's a lot to weigh on a person who have a gun and a badge. You know what I mean? That's a whole lot for a gun and a badge and have the authority to kill. I mean, the authorization to kill because they're, you know what I mean? That's you ever heard that old statement, happy wife, happy life? Well, it should be a happy cop, you live. You know what I mean? I don't know. Happy cop, you live, you stay alive. You know what I mean? And I'm not making fun of it. I guess my thing is that now, are there racism in in law enforcement? Of course it is. Of course it is.
And if you have that mixed with mental health altogether.
Yeah, has it been shown? Of course it has been shown. You know, but does that still mean that all police or law enforcement are bad? No, they're not. There are good cops out there who want to do their job. They want to do their job, but then you have that few or more than few who they just don't want to play by the rules. And those people need to be screened out as well and dealt with, thrown off the force altogether, just thrown off the force. I think they're doing an investigation even inside of, what is that? Where Shelvin comes from? What police department is that? Is that
Minnesota?
Minnesota. Yeah. They're doing a full investigation of the whole police department. They're doing that, and that's because of the lady. What's her name? I don't know, the cop lady who pulled her taser. Her gun instead of her taser. Yeah. Now they're doing a full investigation to see, hey, what's going on? Because you have an officer 26 years on the force who don't know the difference between her one side from the other. And what do they call it? Intimidated, with heavy side or important side or whatever it's called. But they don't know that you should know the difference, even in a strenuous situation that you might say you were in, that it was so where I didn't realize because I couldn't think, so I just pulled a one. No. Right. Maybe you should have been talking to somebody. Maybe something was going on, underlining issues that we didn't know, and it just showed. I mean, I don't know if she was racist. I don't know if that was a racist. I don't know. I don't know how to call that. Right. You know, all I know is it did happen. And this woman should have known the difference. Should have known the difference between which one to pull. So was there some issues going on with her?
Underlying mental issues going on.
Because
I don't even know if it was.
I
don't know if it was mental so much as just being so accustomed to a culture and a society that devalues Black and brown skin, that it was almost instinctual for her to be at a higher level of fear in that situation versus if it was someone of her own race, you know. I don't know that, like you said, I don't know that it was like with, you know, Floyd's guy, you know, that he was intentionally being, you know, tortured. You know what I'm saying? Like I agree with you. I don't, you know, if I think it truly was accidental, but like you said, you know, you got to know the difference.
What's going on over in what is the other state that's going on where was it North Carolina, South Carolina?
North Carolina, yeah.
What's going on there? I think here's the thing there. I think that they're trying to not allow this to be like
First floor.
Chauvin, so they trying to clean up mess. I think stuff's trying to get cleaned up, especially on camera. And here's another thing I believe. I'm just going to be honest. I also believe that they're trying to save these officers from their pensions and everything like that. So that's why they making sure that they hurry up and resign so that they keep their pensions. Because a lot of them, I think 3 of them resigned. If I'm not so sure, 3 of them. I mean, why are you allowing these guys to resign? You know what I mean? And because are you trying to save their pension? So before everything come down, you know what I mean? You would think the mayor would say, now here's the thing. I think that mayors or whoever have the authorities to hold off on that should hold off on that. If it's a case if it's a situation where someone's gotten shot and they quick to resign, I would be like, we're going to put that on hold. We're going to find out what's going on because it's something that you all of a sudden want to resign after you shot somebody. And now you feel like, well, maybe I need to resign. No, you still want that pension because they can get the pension. And you still want to sit around and stay loose and do other things, get your money after killing someone. You know what I mean? And this, in this office, the chief, he took a long time not showing the video. And when he showed the video, it was only like 20 minutes or so.
20 seconds.
Yeah, 20 seconds of the video. And what are you doing that you can't show this video so long? You know, I mean, are you editing it? What are you doing that, and now I think they're asking for the lawyer as well.
Well, they said they would show it to the family, I believe.
They did. 20.
Oh, the 20. That's right.
They showed it to the boy. I think it was an uncle or son or somebody they showed it to, and somebody else. And they said that it was straight up. I forgot the terminology he used, but he was saying the cops were in the wrong. But now you're going to allow these cops to resign before justice is taken forth. You're going or now listen, if they resign, they didn't get fired. You know what I mean? If you resign, you didn't get fired. If you resign, you didn't. At the same time, you didn't get fired, but you also have a chance to get your pension. I don't know how long these cops were on their jobs, how many years that they would even get a pension. But I see our guests have come on.
All right.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
Good afternoon. I apologize if I was late. I thought we guys were on the same time schedule.
Oh, okay.
In Michigan. So I apologize about that.
Yeah, no problem.
That's no problem. We thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yes. So
so introduce our guest.
All righty. Okay. Well, we have Mr. CRUX Conception. He actually is one of my voiceover actors for the My Life audio drama. So most definitely thank you for coming. CRUX Conception. He has 20 years of law enforcement, now retired, criminal profiling and teaching experience. He's an adjunct professor. So he also is an author of Outside My Mind, Behind the Blue Wall. So Corruption Behind the Blue Wall focuses on a 24-year career of a veteran and decorated homicide detective in a predominantly white police department. His career abruptly ended after a bipolar reaction to a prescription muscle relaxer caused an unforeseen mental health breakdown, followed by severe maltreatment from mental health professionals, the police force, and the justice system. So that's his book that he's written. Outside of My Mind. And so, thank you for joining us on the round.
And I wish we had the book up, the cover for the book up. But let me ask you this. So, so what made you write this book?
Okay. It's so weird. It was June 17th, 2014. Or June 14th, 2017. My life just took a complete 360 turnaround. Make a long story short, I had a bipolar reaction to a particular muscle relaxer after suffering back pains, and the bipolar reaction actually I was wanting to kill myself. I got in my car, loaded up my 357, headed to a park to kill myself. I'm freaking out. I don't know what was wrong. There was extenuating factors, some stressors, and when I mean stressors, not just the signal stressors, but the stressors that the emotional, psychological stressors were there to add on it as well. But what happened, and I want to say it was unbeknownst to myself and my physician at the time that this would happen. So I want to make that clear. But when officers stopped me, I'm in an unmarked car. I'm a detective, and we have unmarked cars in our jurisdiction. And a citizen, actually, when I read the reports, because I'm putting all the reports in my book too as well. It was a male black, and he knocked on the door, and all he could tell was that it had the Indiana municipality police badge as our license plate, and all city vehicles, all law enforcement vehicles have them in the state of Indiana. And so you had cops coming, lights and sirens. I heard even a couple feds came, and it was like, that's weird because feds don't usually work past a certain hour. I'm not going to say that hour. I don't want to jeopardize any ongoing investigations somebody may have, but they don't work past 3 o'clock in the morning. I was out there, so everybody and their mama was coming, and even the ambulance be coming, because all they knew was there was a male black in a police car, and he was slumped over and knocked out at the seat. Because by the grace of God, that's one thing I'm thankful for to this day, is that no one got hurt. No lives were taken, but I just ended up passing out at the wheel, and my car just rolled onto a curb. And that's when everybody came. The call was made, and everybody came, and they knocked on the door, and they said, "Hey, are you okay? What's going on?" And I said, "I'm heading to Krieger Park." And they said, "For what?" And I said, "To kill myself." And they had me step out of the car. And our policy, and it was written by Governor Pence at the time, but later became Vice President Pence, wrote the policy, and all our officers are trained under crisis intervention team policies. And basically it states that if there is a misdemeanor or anything under a misdemeanor offense where it would cause an individual to go to jail, that could be thrown out the window. That's if that person is expressing and stating psychological issues, get them psychiatric help, most importantly. And I told him my case. I told him I was a worthless father. I didn't feel like I was a good father, and I just wanted to die. I told him I even left a suicide note at my house, and I also had my unloaded 357 off-duty weapon, on my passenger side. And I told him I took 2 bottles. I took all the muscle relaxers, and I took all the painkillers that I got. I lifted up my shirt, showed him I had 3 injections from back pains. That's why I got the muscle relaxers. And I said I wanted to die, and I had a glass of vodka because I couldn't wait. I'm sitting there like, okay, you're supposed to drink the whole, or take the whole pills, and I'm supposed to be dead, and I wasn't dead. So I drank vodka, and I still wasn't. That's why I left, because I didn't want excuse my terminology, ladies, but I didn't want my brains splattered all over the house my wife and I at the time had just built, and I didn't want it to be a constant reminder. So I wanted to head to the park to kill myself. They took me to jail. Wow. They took, and I say in my book too, I put it in bold letters, I say they take my black ass to jail. Excuse my language, but the reason I say that is because when I was going through what caused my depression and my PTSD was being locked up in solitary confinement and lockup, and seeing my so-called brothers in blue waving at me goodbye. And leaving me there with we wear the same badge, but these are county officers who run the jail. I don't really know them. I don't break bread with them. They don't go to school, with my kids. And on top of that, there's 17 of us in law enforcement and my family. And they call us the black version of the TV show Blue Bloods. There's so many of us in my family, federal, state, and local. And basically what I'm saying is they left me there. They ignored the protocol. They left me there. And no one called my wife. All these people who knew my brother, my twin brother's FBI agent, my dad, 33 years on the department, grandfather, first black sheriff in the state of Michigan. They knew all these people. They knew that we bled blue. Our blood bled blue. And they left me there. And that was a wake-up call. And that's part of my chapter I call entitled Insurgents of a House Nigga, because I woke up. I did start to see that there is color. And the gentleman's father was right. There is two types of justice, a black justice and a white justice. And I noticed it when I was in the gang unit. That was 2 years prior. And there's no such thing as proactive policing. There is just racial profiling. You know, and when they use these words, and I go into my book, I got to change the chapter of it, because it's like how to get away. And it's just a question mark. Basically, what I'm doing is telling parents and kids certain things to do to avoid being incarcerated on a what they call at big cities like Detroit and Baltimore a humble, you know, because for black men, a humble, what I mean a humble is like a jaywalking or no license plate or no sticker or expired. Those are humbles, but guess what? They build up. They build up and they build up. And that's why they're saying, when they read the young man got arrested who got shot in the back of the head, they said he had his pages was 187 pages long, his rap sheet or something like that. But they're not saying what kind of offenses. It's probably a bunch of offenses, BS offenses that got dismissed. Wow. You know, but they don't say that. Fox doesn't say that. So, but yeah, that's where I got the book. I wrote the book from, and I always believe that there's always two sides of a story. And so that's why I put the police report, all police reports, every officer's report in there, because I was struggling to myself, you know, still trying to give them, being the good house Negro, I was still trying to give them the benefit of the chance and saying, okay, there got to be a reason why they ignored protocol, because I'm getting my PhD in forensic psychology, and I wrote the protocol for this, our protocol. I was I wasn't the father of it, but I was the perfectionist of it. And I'm thinking to myself, I know they know better. And I'm like, well, what's up? Maybe they thinking I was faking to get out on an arrest, a drunk arrest. I mean, I don't know. But in the back of my mind, it just started to build up. And that was the cause of my PTSD. These people who I claim to be my family and my brother didn't, afford me the same respect as someone who just raped a 4-year-old, Wow. And another thing too. I mean, just being that. Let me ask you this: if I came to you and you were the transporting officer and you knew that I said that I took a whole bottle of drugs, a 2 whole bottle of prescription narcotics, that I wanted to kill myself, that I just got some injections, and you seen the ambulance coming, would you tell the ambulance to stop, or would you tell the ambulance, he's okay, keep on going?
Tell him to stop.
Exactly. Not only that covers your butt, because there's been stories before when officers have dropped somebody who's OD'd off at the jail. They ignored the medical clearance, and 2 hours later they call in that dispatch unit, hey, you might want to come back to lockup because your transport just passed away. If that would have happened to me, I would have been I had 60 days off without pay. That's just,
Wait a minute. Let me hold on. This on that one. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me because of what happened, they put you off 60 days with no pay, and here you see, and again, I'm not riding on officers, but here you see situations where they'll say they put them on leave with pay, and after shooting someone.
Yes.
Even though they still trying to figure it out and everything, and nobody's really saying that they've committed the crime, but they put them off. Wow. Kind of deep right there.
And I even got a copy of my internal affairs jacket I'm putting in the book, because sometimes people, I believe, and here's the thing, you're probably on one side saying you don't need to do all that, but I come from 24 years of 90% of the time where I'm working 8 hours a day, people are telling me a lie. So I'm type, like, there's always two sides of the story. So I'm putting both sides. And the reason I'm putting the officers' reports in there and I'm not blacking their names out, because for months, it drove me literally crazy to try to understand why they left me there. Why didn't they get me help? And I read it, and there was nothing in there to even. There was nobody there was, there was no terrorist activity going on. There was no major, mass murder going on. There was nothing that stopped them from saying, hey, we need to take him to Parkview, get checked out first, get him a psyche, get a psyche.
Let me ask you this. Did they ever make that move? They didn't even they didn't even look into getting you help or any of that.
No, and the funny thing about it is the deputy chief that night, because since I was a detective, and it would be in the papers, they call out all the brass, and that's the sad thing about it. They call out the brass, not just regular officers and sergeants coming to the scene. You got the brass coming, and that's what makes it even sadder. And the fact that in the report he writes himself. He says, I called the Allen County Jail to check on Detective Jenkins' status to see if he was going to get help to Parkview Behavioral. They told him that nobody was available and he would have to wait till the morning. Right then and there, I'm like, why didn't you send somebody to go transport me? You know, and right then and there. And that's when I said, okay, I'm done feeling sorry for myself. I'm done. At that point in time, I was like, I'm done. I could retire. I'm not going back. I don't want to go back, you know, because if I go back, something bad's going to happen. And not only that, you know, when I was a federal agent, I had a special agent in charge that always used to say, kick them when they're down. And I always thought that was so tacky. And what happened to me was when I got out, not only did I spend a night in jail, and if anybody knows anything about psychological research and study, even 1 hour can cause 1 hour in solitary confinement can cause pain to an individual that's already suffering psychological stressors or a psychosis of some sort. And when I got out of there, they realized they made a mistake, and they should have got me a 24-hour or, you know, some type of psych eval. So it was like a thief in the night. They actually handcuffed me, putting me in the county transport vehicle, and transported me to a psychiatric ward. And I was there for 5 days, and nobody knew. Nobody in my family knew. None of them ever.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife didn't know. Nobody knew. They didn't know until it came on the news the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Mhm.
But okay,
Is that, can I ask real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you went to psychiatric, was that involuntary?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, here's the thing. That there was a lady and it's in my book, and I've worked with her. She knows that I have a background in psychology. And not to say that that's going to get me out. I needed help at the time, and I state that in my book. I needed help at that time. The help that I received, unfortunately, was inadequate and did more harm than good. But this lady knew my background. She knew that I was passionate about psychology, and she came in. She was working with the judge. They ignored my, I forgot the legal term of it, but it's when you get charged on something else again legally while you're already in custody. And it's, I forgot the name, I forgot the terminology for it, but that was denied. I didn't get to see the judge. I was in custody on the OWI, the driving while intoxicated charge. But when they were doing the psych charge on me, they didn't allow me to speak to a judge. I was told we have three hospitals that are adequate not adequate, but handle psychiatric patients. And when they told me what hospital I was going to, I knew that was a joke. And I said, I don't want to go there. I said, if I'm gonna have to go, send me to somewhere, send me to one to. And she said, no, I mean, nonchalantly, I could see it to this day. No, judge already made his mind up. You're going to Parkview. And yeah, like they just shipped me off like a thief in the middle of the night. It was in the morning.
But see, I guess my issue, Lovely T, did you have something else to add?
Go ahead.
No, I guess I want to look in this area in terms of the mental health with the officers. I guess my thing is that, okay, so it seems to me that the mental health issues that were obviously there were thrown out the window. Yeah. It's like, let's disregard this. So, but let's backtrack. Let's pedal back. I guess what I want to ask you is that, you know, can you tell us, like, in terms of what if you didn't, in terms of you had this thought to go take your own life? What if you didn't have that thought, or if you just say, you know, I'm gonna disregard it? How would your policing have been Even though, you know what I mean, even if you didn't do that, because there's some people who might be stressful and want to do it, but just don't. You'll continue to be a police. You know, police do their job. Do you think your job would have been, how would it went? How would your job flow that day?
You know, my job was my philosophy on law enforcement had changed. Like I said, I spent 2 years in a what we call a gang unit here in Fort Wayne, and that gang unit has now disbanded because of activities. They strip searched in the parking lot of a Walgreens a probation officer, because a female probation officer, because the probation officer came to inquire on why her nephew or her relative was in custody, and just bold, blatant things like that. There's a lawsuit right now where during the George Floyd protests, a member of the Fort Wayne Police Department shot the eye out of an individual with one of the tear gas guns, and they don't know who the officer is, so they have to delay the case and things like that. I was talking, like I said, my dad had 33 years on. I said, Dad, there should be a use of force. They know who that officer is, because every time you squeeze that trigger, you have to do a use of force policy. You have to sign a use of force form, and the cameras were there, so I'm sure everybody covered their butts and wrote a report. And I know that had to be documented, but they're acting like it doesn't exist now, and things like that. And so I notice and I see things like that. But if my incident didn't happen to me, I would have changed, because I asked to get out of the gang unit and they put me in homicide, where I belong, because that's where I started my career, in homicide, and I wanted to end it in homicide. And so I asked to leave that unit. But my compassion for how I saw African Americans, I hate using that word because it sounds like America's got a cosign on our legitimacy here. So I'm sorry, I meant blacks. So, but and I see how they treated individuals in our city, and that's why I'm a big proponent, and I'm gonna tell you why. If we could talk about one thing, I think is real. I mean, you probably could talk about this all day, but I'm glad that they're fighting Senator Tim Scott on the liability because I know for a fact, I think that officers for their first 3 years should have malpractice insurance, and it should come out of their own pocket, because it's just like my grandma used to say, you're going to take care of what's yours. You're always going to take care of what's yours. And I know officers, and I know how these people are, these officers are. Their kids don't go to school with our kids. They don't go to our churches. They don't even live in the same county in here. You ask any officer in any jurisdiction, any black officer, say, hey, do a lot of the white officers live far away from the area they work in? And they'll say yes. And so I think that these officers should need at least 3 years paying out of their pocket, because think about it. You go do something to another George Floyd, before your knee even lands on his neck, I guarantee that officer's going to think about his home out in 2 counties away. He's going to think about his wife. He's going to think about the kids' colleges, and because trust me, I know them. I know how they think. And I've been inside their heads for over 24 years. And you do that, and the bad ones are going to bail out. And then 3 years of paying your own insurance, malpractice insurance. Come on, if you show that you're good for 3 years, or you don't have any major lawsuits or civil suits against you, then the city will start covering you for the rest of your, career. What's wrong with that? Something like that.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that is.
Yeah, and like, again, doing background checks, wouldn't it be, I'm not saying required, but I did background checks before. Wouldn't it be cool to have these white officers at least have you say, for instance, you got 5 references? Wouldn't it be cool if 2 of them were of color?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, things simple things like that,
Well, Mr. CRUX, is that what you plan to do? Like, and you said you're seeking your or you're currently in the process of getting your PhD.
Yes, ma'am.
In forensic psychology.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the plan for that? It sounds like you may want to stay in like the law enforcement realm, but perhaps in a different role, or what do you?
I like the clowns, but I don't like the circus. And but the thing is, I'd like to pinpoint more on mental well-being and mental health. I think that, because of everybody's blaming it on Reagan. They said once Reagan cut the mental health, it went to, I was too young to be involved in politics back then. All I know is we got a problem here, and officers do have a problem. But the bad thing about it is, you will never get officers, once they pass their first psych exam, you will never get them to divulge on anything serious because they're afraid. Officers have a lot of technology. We are capable of monitoring a lot of things that people aren't aware that we are. And with that knowledge comes power. And if you're sitting there and you're divulging to a counselor that you had suicidal thoughts, or you did something, you and your wife go to sex clubs and things like that, in the back of your mind, you're not going to talk to that counselor because of all the knowledge you've been gained privy to, and how knowledge can be slipped out. And cops and hairdressers are the biggest rumor spreaders in any profession I've ever met.
Wow, I never heard of that.
Yes. Oh, you can't keep. I mean, you hear stories about rock stars and people like that getting. Just think about the Kobe Bryant pictures. They were taken. Cops have access to a lot of things that a lot of people in the public don't. And with that access comes power. And when you think you have that power, you want to show it off and say, hey, look what I got, or look about this, or did you hear about this person? So I don't ever see it being, unless it's mandatory. But the one thing they're gonna have to do is get rid of the unions. They get rid of the unions, and you'll do that.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So let's look at this issue in terms of the mental health. Can we say, or isn't it an excuse? Isn't it an excuse to use someone who's being just racist? Just racist that they have or do we diagnose racism as a mental health problem? I mean,
yeah.
What do we do there? Because I mean, if we look at some of these cops, or is it fear? I mean, what is it that's drawing these cops or these law enforcement? I don't want to say cops, law enforcement to go out and commit these acts on. Like we just said, some officers there's two types of policing, black people and white people. So, I mean, is that mental health? Does that deal with mental health?
It's not mental health. I call it the police culture. And I'm explaining to you like this. If, say for instance, you, sir, are a racist and you don't like me because of the color of my skin, and you got a gun and a badge, and we're in a vehicle pursuit, and your adrenaline is up, and you like, oh man, I'm about to crash. I'm not gonna get to see my kids again, all because of this fool ahead of me. I gotta stop. I crash my car. I bail out. The adrenaline's still in. You get out of your car. You chase me. You grab me. You and your boys grab me. Everybody that was born in 1980 or above know what comes next is a beatdown. It's the cop culture. Now, here's what happens is, and I've seen it happen before, you could run up there and kick me in the head as hard as you can, and because of the color of my skin, and nobody would know the difference because you can hide behind that police culture. You can come and stop me all you want. You can, every time you see me, you can stop me. You can, I could look like that brother that took your girlfriend, in high school, that turned her out to other brothers, or that took your spot on the basketball team, and you could stop anybody that looked like that person and resembled them. And as long as you did your job right, you were. I'm sure Derek Chauvin wrote millions of tickets and made thousands of traffic stops on African Americans, and I bet he gave them humbles. And again, the humbles, the more humbles the officers see on that, the more incidents that officer sees on that police screen, he's already got his mind made up. He's already got his mind made up. He don't even have to see if it's like, if you're the victim. He don't even have to see if you're the victim. All he has to just see the more incidents, involvements on that screen, on that road down there, and they already got their minds made up.
Oh,
I've been there.
Let me ask you this. So what you're saying now is they can actually look at your record, and make that decision before they get out the car how they're going to handle you.
And here's another thing, you know, and I wish if somebody knew Benjamin Crump, they tell them this, or somebody. I would like for these attorneys to start doing now is getting all the data from the screens, because they have little instant messages that pop up on these softwares, on these screens, and you should see some of the language that they say and some of the things that they say on there. And I'd like for them to start getting all the radio traffic, because you don't hear the other officers going to a non-public channel, but they do. And I remember, instead of saying the word black, they used the word good one, you know, good one. He said, yeah, that's a good one. And they, you know, and officers aren't supposed to do this, but if an officer is behind you, they sometimes they run a plate. And if they run a plate and find out that your license is suspended, they can't stop you, because that's illegal. They're not supposed to be running your plate. You have to cause a traffic infraction for them to run you. But what they do is they'll run you, and then they'll wait for you to make an infraction. They'll stop you for the infraction. That gives them probable cause. Once they find out you don't have a license, that gives them probable cause to get you out of the car, to see what you got in the car. They'll tow your car. You got all these bills added up just because they couldn't do a real job like a real police and just walk the streets, know the neighborhood, know the people, know the families, and be a part of the community.
So, Mr. Crux, you've given some really good ideas. Well, beyond ideas, you've stated some policy and other things. How do you work towards shifting that blue culture? You know,
there's a lot of good, and you know, when I gave a TED talk, and it was talking about how to use active listening skills to listen to people like you guys right now, being a former hostage negotiator, that right there is showing me that you're listening to me, that you're encouraging. And Dave Chappelle said it the best. You know, it's time for the streets to talk. It's time for the people and the kids in the streets to talk. And it's time for the politicians and the law enforcement to just shut up and listen. And that's what my speech was about. But the thing is, how we have to get that culture. They need to everybody just needs to get grandfathered out. They need to change it. Policies, for instance, are you know, a young 21-year-old rookie going through not a rookie, but a cadet going through the board of public safety interview. If the city, you know, sir, if the city pays half your mortgage, would you and your wife be willing to live in the inner city or the place you patrol for at least 3 to 4 years? Quite simple questions like that, you know, simple things like, you know, on the resumes or the reference, how many people of color, how many females or, you know, indigenous individuals do they have as residents, you know, or references, you know, what, and if they don't, that might be a red flag, you know, but like Chris Rock said, go out
that particular community.
Or is there anything that you can push in that area that can make that kind of stuff happen? I mean, since you know, and those are great ideas, are you doing anything, or is there anything you could do in that area?
My thing is, I'm a proponent of getting rid of the applied immunity. That's what like, for instance, like in Fort Wayne, when I first came on the police department, it was common knowledge, like, oh man, if we go upside somebody's head, the city will cover us out of court for at least $350,000. And most cities do have a limit as to what they'll settle out of court for. And officers know that. And that's what I said. Officers know that if you take away that applied immunity, the minute they get up that morning before they tool up and put on their gear, they're going to think twice about going up somebody's head, because now the liability is on them. It's like driving without insurance. You scared, you know, and but since I'm a big proponent of that, there's a lot of people that aren't. That's like real radical. Even Biden won't say anything on that. And I don't know if Harris has said anything on that or not. I'm sorry, President Biden and Vice President Harris. I'm sorry. I used to hate when people just said Obama, you know, So I'm a big proponent on that, you know. So,
but you say you wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
No, because
you wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I think you're just, you know, you're talking a lot about, you know, just individuals being accountable, you know. And now I will say this, since the topic is about mental health, that because I think sometimes police recruit very young, Like sometimes the onset of mental illness doesn't happen until, early 20s or something like that, So so I think that's where the screening once again becomes a critical component. Because, like you said, even in your own story, it wasn't until you were on one thing that it exacerbated another thing, individuals being able to, it's a career choice, right? So like you said, they're human. So maybe at the time this was the right career for them, but upon screening and this, that, and the third, then you say, okay, maybe this isn't the right profession for you, but you can, or knowing that this is your situation, what things do you have in place? What support systems do you have in place? And then put them on a track of early, counseling and things of that nature. But you know what I'm saying? Those are just some of the things.
And that's what I do. I like to do, for example, these are things that when I did this thing called rapid response therapy, and it's in my book. And you know what? I'm gonna send you guys the full book. I'm gonna send y'all the full book. All right. So because it's a good book, and so Tony, you cool with that? Lady B, y'all cool with that? Y'all cool with that? I'm gonna send y'all the whole book. Actually, I'm proud of it, And I like to use word. It shows that I went on a journey trying to look for the right therapist, because the psychiatrist that I had, that prescribed me medication, I kept gaining weight, and it was, and I was, and this is where paranoia kicks in, because there's a part in my book. My book's not always clean, so there's a part of my book that, I look in this family picture, and I'm saying, and I got to change the name too. My aunt read it, and she said, "Don't do that, girl, like that, baby." So I'm gonna change the name. But I was looking at it, and I said, I was like, "Does such and such work for you?" Because it was a teacher, and it was in this big photo with a bunch of people, and I thought it was a nurse, like her nurses or her staff. And she said, "No, that's my daughter." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh man, I slept with her. I slept with her daughter." It was a 3-night stand, and that was it. And then I said to myself, and then I put in the book, I said to myself, because I broke up with her because her underarms smelled like onions. And I put that in my book. And that's why my aunt said, "Baby, don't put that girl like that." But it goes to show that, it shows that I got paranoid, because here this lady this is the lady that's prescribing me prescription. What if she knows that the reason I broke up with her daughter? What if she knows that I even, her daughter and I had to put, and I told my aunt I had to put that in there, because it shows the paranoia. And what paranoia is, irrational fear, which you all know, but to me it was real. So, and that's why I had to put it in there. So
what about the guy you was just saying about the cop that killed himself? We were trying to find that video now.
It was recently. It was probably the last month or so. Where this cop, he went on YouTube. He was an officer, a black cop, and he told them this was his last day on the job. He said, "This is going to be my last day on the job." And he talked about some things that he were going through. And the next thing on the news, he shot himself in his head. He shot himself, killed himself. And how you know it was true, because his pastor even talked about. He went to this particular church. The pastor got online and talked about the incident. He said he even talked to him recently, and he was just talking about how, hey, take care of yourself and all this stuff. And he took his own life. He took himself. He killed himself. But recently, his daughter died. His daughter died. I don't know if it was from the COVID or whatever, but she died. And he took his life as well.
So he was dealing with some mental
he was
health
dealing
issues.
with some issues.
How come no one knew that he was suffering or had? I know it was some signs.
Well, his situation was he was dealing with. He had went to the military. It was still some things that he was dealing with even then that he just couldn't. And he was a heavy drinker. You know what I mean? He was a heavy drinker. And he ended up getting himself into church and trying to stay connected. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to add to it, but his life, You know
what? I could pretty much, 1, being in law enforcement, 2, being a male, and 3, being a black male, that right there is a taboo and it's a stigma. You know, like for me, what I say emotional wellness. I don't say mental health. You know, and you know what? And words do matter. It's how you say things, and I try to tell people, or when I talk about communications and negotiation skills, words do matter. For instance, like I was thinking about the other day, I said it. You know, like when you think about, you know, like mental health, it's like, ugh, it's scary. It's a scary word, you know, but it's not meant to be scary. It's meant to protect someone's emotional well-being, or you can even change a word to say your emotional strength. You know, I mean, it's like, even though it's a good thing, people frown it, and that is the word child support, you know. So, but you know, it's a good thing, but you know, a lot of you know, men frown upon it. But you know, it's so, you know, think of things to change the words. Like for me, instead of saying I have a safe space to go to with a place with no judgment, I say I go to the club, and it's a mental club that I go to, you know. And what it is for me, it's a concentration, and basically I'm having a conversation with myself aloud, and then I'm going through the next door, and I'm in church, and next thing you know, I'm on my knees, and basically what I'm doing is I'm building myself up to pray. And that's how I pray every morning. I build myself up. I meditate first, I speak to myself, I talk to myself, and then eventually I'm having a conversation with God, and I'm praying. So yeah.
So I found the video. I'm just waiting on our producer.
Can I ask a quick question? So you said you had a bipolar episode. So
Yes.
So because people in our audience may not know what that is, can you break that down to us a little bit?
Yeah, a bipolar episode is it's a single incident. It's not a constant incident. It can be a constant incident, but for my situation, it was a singular incident that day, and it was an effect. It made my mood change. It made just the regular me, the happy-go-lucky dude that everybody knew. It made me automatically, without provocation, bam, just constantly switch and become a different person, a total personality. You know, and that's, you know, that is my interpretation of bipolar, and that's my education interpretation. Just like sociopath and psychopath, you know, sociopath, something made that person be like that. You know, I don't know if he got beat as a child or molested, but one day that person woke up with some trauma and said, I'm going to make the world pay. Now, psychopath was born that way, you know, and there's a lot of, you know, people speculate as to which one is right, but that's my interpretation, you know, of, you know, just a you know, safe place and just changing out. So,
well, our producer played this last video.
Yeah, play the last video. But I want to ask you this: why? Okay, well, let's go ahead and look at this. This is the cop, the officer.
Okay.
I've had enough of all of this nonsense, and I'm serving a system that does not give a damn about me or people like me. This killing that's going on, especially by the police, which I am. I can't abide by this no more. I'm not having anything to do with this nonsense anymore. You have no idea how hard it is to put a uniform on in this day and age with everything that's going on. Floyd, man, Brianna, right? I'm telling you, if this feels right to you as a person, there's something is wrong with you. This is the furthest thing from right. I'm not doing it anymore. Loved my job, loved it, loved every aspect of it. Finally found something I could call my own and made it my own. And but this is bigger than that. And I'm not gonna do that. There's no way I can just be like, oh, okay, it's no big deal. No, this is a very big deal to me. This is a tipping point. And just to continue to think that we can just do what we've been doing and just hit the status quo like that, and people, no whatsoever. This is wrong. It needs to be resisted against, and you have an obligation and a duty to do that. Because if not, you're complacent. As I would be complacent if I continue just doing what I am doing and not saying anything. I've tried to bring things to people's attention, little small things, but it's a system, and I'm a small cog in this whole big machine. But I can tell you this: there's more good people than bad. So I need to figure that out real quick because it's the truth. It is the absolute truth.
Yeah. Oh, what happened? Did we lose it?
Oh.
Yeah, it just went. Okay, so but there's an actual another video where he's actually in his police vehicle and he's talking about, this is the last time I'm on the job. How much did that run home to you?
Man, that video, you mean what I saw?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because you build up and you get frustrated. And like I said, there was a time where I just didn't see color. I didn't see race. I just saw blue, but because I was a homicide detective for so long and I wasn't in the uniform. So I didn't get to, deal with a lot of people unless it was at the negative time in their life. And I didn't see blue. I didn't see race. I just saw solving a case. But when I joined our tactical unit and I saw the discrepancies and that we always stayed in the hood, we had jurisdiction all over, but we just stayed in the hood, where prostitution. Okay, Fort Wayne, the north side was primarily white and there's less crime there. The south side is where it's primarily black and brown, and there's a lot of crime there. But in the hotels are up north, and that's where the drug trades, the prostitutions are, and that's a part of vice and narcotics, which the gang unit is, and they never did it. I remember there was a big steak restaurant. There was a motorcycle gang shootout, and there was a murder up there. And I said, "See, there's white gangs. Let's go up there." And they're like, "Oh, that case is already solved." I'm like, and so like that made me get in the car. And if I had the courage to get on YouTube like him, I probably would. But things like that I just explained made me just get in my squad car and just sit and just put my head down like, God. Will this ever change? I got frustrated one time. I even told the deputy chief, I said, can we have a white Wednesday where we just pull white people over? That's how frustrated I was. Yeah.
And see that to me, man, it's just so much in that. It's so much. Man, it's just so. I don't even know the right word.
The media. The media definitely looks down. The media definitely looks down on people who have radical thinking, because we have a congressperson here who made a statement here in Michigan about just totally getting rid of the police or defunding the police. And it's been, the narrative has presented itself where she's crazy or that's extreme. And I guess it is a little extreme. But based on what you're saying, it makes sense why she would think that way. You know what I'm saying? Because there's just so much that has to shift and change.
Yeah. And every day I used to get so upset. It was like every day to go in there and see them with the Indiana code book, to go in there thinking of more loopholes. I didn't know myself that on your vehicle, under your light, above your license plate, there's a light to illuminate the vehicle. I didn't, know that, but you can get stopped for that. And all that's a little humble so they can get inside that vehicle and look for a bigger, target. And and I'm like, what? And my dad even said something because they stopped him one day and he was driving his Hummer at the time. And they said that somebody committed an armed robbery that matched his vehicle. And he said, wow, he said, who's going to be stupid to do an armed robbery in a Hummer? And then then they said, well, I'm stopping you because your license plate light is out. He said, that's funny too. He said, Indiana is one of 5 states that have reflective license plates, which means it's nighttime, son, and your lights on your car illuminate my license plate, and then he told him who he was, and then they apologized and let him go. So
So I know, and it just is so. we still need to deal with this issue. I don't know how we'll go about it. Maybe it's too much authority going on, too much power. I don't know what it is. It's something that definitely needs to happen, and it needs to happen quick. With our officers and their stress levels of how they deal with different situations of buildup. You know what I mean? And how do you take it out? Or is you just that itching to get into a situation that you want to deal with this situation anyway? What is it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I think I talk to a couple kids every now and then, and I just want to pick their brains, see what the youth are thinking, and a lot of young kids want to see about law enforcement, but you will not see it happen, and I'll explain why. They want to see more minorities and females in patrolling the inner city. They don't want to see these people they can't relate to. And they also, and I told them that won't happen because myself included, I didn't want to. And right now, this day and age, right now, the way people are towards police, I wouldn't want to work. I wouldn't want to work down there. I really wouldn't. And that's why you're going to see policing. When I mean policing, I mean, somebody protecting your home and your neighborhood and your city. You're going to see that dwindle a lot because you're going to see a lot of officers when they come on duty, they're going to go on the radio, come on duty, and they're going to find a knife safe place to hide, and they're not going to move their vehicle unless they get dispatched to a run, and that run is going to be conducted with minimal effort as possible.
Yeah, because they're making them pay for it. This ain't gonna turn around now.
So this is
because see here, and I want to say this, and then I'm done because I know we have to end it. But see, this is the thing, though. Okay, so when you have bad seeds, whatever you put it, place it where you want. And when you have bad seeds on the job, it's not just your authority, but you're costing these cities money. You're costing these cities money. And here's the thing. Let's just look at the shelving case alone. $27 million. That's what the lawsuit was. You had people that was in court showing up. This one officer, he wasn't an officer anymore, but he was charging $10,000 to be a witness on the stand. $10,000 is what they was paying this guy. It was another doctor. He was charging $300 an hour to talk about what's going on. It's costing the city money from this guy just putting his knee to say, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be the judge, the prosecutor, and everybody else. And it's going to cost the city all of this money. I will get tired of I would get tired of law enforcement stepping up to say that you're going to determine how much money I'm going to kick out. Because there's a whole lot of money. And now look what's going on with all these back-to-back lawsuits. These cities are paying out money. And I don't know if I care about you as being a higher end. That you're going to make me pay out millions of dollars because you got an attitude or you don't know how to deal with life. You get what I mean? So
that gives credence to Mr. CRUX' point about the help me out
applied immunity.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know if that can cover it because you're talking about a lot of freaking money. $27 million. That's a lot.
But if they do it, but the thing is, and we know with Floyd that this guy was veteran. But if we could do it, if when we talk about the shift, you know what I'm saying? That's one of those shifts that will make you think about your actions because you know that you're responsible for that cost. And I'm saying the public can put on additional pressure to say, like, look at what it's costing the city, us, the taxpayers, to have these, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is reason why we need to implement something like this.
Like you said, that make you think
this is the beginning.
Yeah, that like you said, that'll make them think twice. That's just like somebody getting a car insurance on their vehicles. You're gonna be more cautious, like, cause I gotta pay. I'm paying this money monthly.
If this happens,
But see, here's my thing to that. In order for it to be realistic and a realistic shown realistically, it would have to be something that makes sense because nobody. See, here's the thing: if I'm suing you. I just want to make sure you can pay it. So my thing is that if it's coming from out of your dollar, maybe you might be able to pay it. Maybe you might. And I'm struggling to get this money from you. But if I'm suing the city, I know you have that money. I know you have that money.
Exactly.
So I may be a little bit more reluctant to say, nah, I don't know if I like that because it may be harder for me to get my money. But now here's the thing. The only way that will work if I sue you, the city pay it, but then the city transfer it over to the individual, and now they have to pay that back. But the city give me my money up front, and then they pay it back. So now the burden is on them, but I'm still getting my money. Other than that, I don't think people will vote for it because they're gonna struggle getting their money. You see what I mean? And that's going to be to the bigger issue. But guys, I know we could talk about this topic for hours. Topic for hours. It can keep going on. We can
come back on this topic.
This topic,
It needs to be. It definitely needs to be addressed, but it needs to be on a higher level. It needs to be in our governor's office, in our senators. It needs to be in the House. I mean, everywhere it needs to be talked about, and it has to be something, a decision made for other things happen. It's just going to cost cities money. That's going to be the down. If you want to keep paying out this money, then keep doing it. You got to change this old behavior so it won't cost people money.
All right, awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
So is your book out now, or are you still in a process?
We're still shopping it. We're still looking for the publisher. Right now, I'm still. I wanted to go to because it's a good book, and when I send it to you guys, it's a good book. Like I said, so I want it to be published. I don't want
to show. I'm gonna have my wife to reach out to you to give you some information. There's a show you might have seen her. She's an ex-officer who has a book out as well, and she's very popular. She used to be a chief. Everybody goes onto her podcast, and she do interviews with them. I think you would be a very great candidate to be on her show, but I need to find her information. So we can send it to you, and then maybe you could try to reach out to her because I mean, you're going online, and she get a whole lot of hits. And like I said, it's something about blue or something like that. You might have seen her online, but guys, listen.
What thing? I'm sorry. I'll pop real quick. If you guys know of, or any of your listeners know of any active or retired law enforcement officers or anyone that's resigned, have them contact me, the black officers. I'm trying to build something on Facebook called Ask a Black Cop. We're not giving legal advice, but we're giving advice from a law enforcement perspective to what people could do, how they should go to take internal affair complaints, what lawyers are the best lawyers, and we want to get that started. But I want one for every state. So,
well, let's try to have you back on to even talk about. Let's talk about that. Even after this podcast, it normally gets hundreds of hits after. So when we post it, when we repost it again, that's when we get all of our listening audience. So it can go up into the thousands or something. So it's going to be a lot of people that will watch it. So, but guys, we definitely appreciate you for coming on the show. Kudos to the book, to the whole lifestyle and everything. We appreciate you coming on the show. Guys, listen, we would love for you to like and share this. Go to our YouTube page, go to our IG page. Listen, guys, we definitely want you this is a topic that needs to be talked about, and this officer, a retired officer, he sounded is a great book that's going to be coming out, and I definitely want to check this one out. I really do. I want to listen to this. It was some great information that was put out here for our audience, and I'm definitely interested into what you're trying to build with this with these officers, because I want to hear this. I love that type of stuff. So guys, but listen, check us out. But thank you for coming on to the site, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you as well.
All right. Take care.
Right. Okay, take care. Guys, we're going to go forth and go on with the next topic.
We got our guests waiting because they was asking us.
She didn't click the link, so I guess not.
Put it back. Make sure you keep pushing.
There's two of them. The guy. What about the guy?
Yeah. So, guys, our next topic, it's not going to be long.
Yeah.
We do have a video. This is a very, very interesting topic. And I want to see the mindset of even when I show Lady B the video, I didn't want to talk about it right then and there. I didn't want to talk about it. Lady B wanted to say something. I said, no, let's just wait because I don't want you to know what I'm thinking. I don't want to know what you're thinking. Let's just show the video and let's just go for it from here and see what we think about this conference. It's a very interesting conversation. And we both felt some type of way from watching the video. So this one is not going to be long. We can get our guests on.
But just only one guest.
You say
Lisa.
that. I don't know.
Lisa, producer Lisa. See if Lisa's coming on. The other two won't be able to come. No, Lisa. Just Lisa.
Okay. You got to tell them to click on the link. Is you going to tell them to do that? Some people might not know, but tell them to click on the link. But guys, this video that we're going to show, it's 8 minutes in length. It's an 8-minute video, but I'm very, very interested in what you think about this video that we're going to show. So we're going to sit back, and I want the guests to come on real quick.
Just one that will
whoever it is, it don't matter. Just whoever the guest is to come on, and I want to hear what they're thinking, so we can get off into this topic. And this is about our dreams. This is about our dreams. Like, how far do we go? Whether it's with our children or whoever, to support other people's dreams. How far? Or what is it a such thing of going too far? Of someone helping someone to reach their dreams, especially with our children. Our kids, our young adults, whoever it may be. But how far do we go? And what's considered like, okay, it's too much now. You got to do this on your own. You know what I mean? What is it that we do as parents, to support our loved ones, to say, hey, I'm in your corner. What does that look like? And when our guests, I don't know if we should go ahead and show the video.
I don't see the sent message to Elisa. I don't see that sent link.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and let's show the video anyway. So, because we have this going on and we got time. Let's go ahead and send play the video. Let's prop the video, producer. Let's just prop it. Put it up there. I'm very interested in y'all opinion in this video. I'm very, very, very interested. In this video. So hopefully we can get the guest. I know she left a comment, didn't she?
There was somebody asked us when we was getting to episode 135. It was somebody who asked about that. And I don't know if that was the Lisa girl or not.
Is that this from 135?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and play the. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and run the video. We grown enough to talk about this, right? All right. Let's go ahead and play it.
The Black Panther has been the protector of Wakanda for a generation. A mantle and down from warrior to warrior. And now that your brother has murdered my father, I now wear the mantle.
We need to talk.
Okay. What's going on?
We need to talk to you about your plans for the future.
Dad, we have already had this conversation. I told you two guys what I'm trying to do.
And what is that exactly?
I'm gonna become an actor.
Son, those dreams are fairy tales. You need a career or something stable, something that'll put food on the table.
Dad, acting is very stable. It's hard work, but once you get your foot in the door, you're good.
If it were that easy, everyone would be an actor. I mean, everybody would be a superstar. But it's not that easy. Son, do you know that 90% of people that try to be an actor end up failing?
And we don't want that for you. We love you and we're trying to protect you. And your dad and I think it'll be a good idea if you study to be a doctor because you're good in science.
What?
Son, think about it. Doctors make great money. I mean, it's a great career. It's a respectable field, and you get to help people.
Dad, that's not what I want to do. I know what I want to do. I can feel it inside. It's like I was built for this.
Oh, boy, stop being stupid. Now, I'm trying to be nice to you, but you're starting to provoke me. Now, you need to drop this acting stuff and get your life together.
Dad, my acting stuff is not stupid. And one day I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to prove to you guys that it's not stupid.
When are you gonna prove it? You're 23 years old, still sitting on your mom's couch, still living in your mom's living room, watching movies every day and practicing monologues? That doesn't make any sense. How much time do you need? And when will this big dream work?
You know what, Mom? I'm going to show you. And I'm going to show Dad. One day you're going to see me on your TV. You're going to see me in the news. And you're going to be proud to say, that's my son.
Michael, where are you going?
I'm going to my room.
You don't have a room here.
Well, what do you mean?
Michael, we've been pampering you and taking care of you, and I think that's making you weak. It's time for you to go out there and face the real world so you can understand what life is really about.
You kicking me out?
It's the best thing for you, son. It's the best thing that we can do for you. You'll thank us in the long run.
Okay, you know what? I'll get a job and I'll pay my side of the rent.
No, you'll get a job and you'll get your own place.
What is this?
Some money that should last you a few months until you get yourself a job.
You guys are serious?
I'm sorry, baby.
No, it's okay. I'll pack my things and I'll get out of your house.
Roger, do you think this is a good idea?
I'm not sure. The boy needs a life. He's got to learn how to stand on his own 2 feet.
My restaurant opens in a few hours and I'm still a dozen short.
Still managing inventory the old school way?
I'll call you back. Who?
Your advisor.
Can you skip that?
I can help you find the right inventory software so you can get back to kicking butt at your restaurant.
What the?
1 year later. So this 1 year later.
Sure. Are you okay?
Have you guys heard from Michael? No, we haven't heard from Michael since he left her. He had not contacted us. Tried to reach out to him several times. He ignored both me and his father. Calls and texts.
Okay, have you guys seen the news?
Wow, what happened?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I knew this was a bad idea.
No, nothing bad, something great.
So what happened?
You guys should see the news.
Michael, how does it feel? You just signed an $18 million deal with Mario Facey Productions.
It's a dream come through. I've been working all my life for this moment. This final year. Gotta give God thanks.
I know your family must be super proud. How are they reacting to your success?
My family. You know what? I just want to say thanks to everyone.
Oh, my boy made it. He said that he would. Oh, my son done made it big.
Okay, Michael. Well,
I can't believe my eyes. My son is a star. Michael's a star.
Mike, can I get an autograph, please?
Hey, it's my son. Hey, Michael. Michael, it's your dad. It's your dad. Michael. Get your hands off me, man. Go through. Hey, son. How you doing?
I've been good, Dad.
My baby, you look so beautiful. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, Mom. So, do you guys want?
We came to see you. We want to show you our support.
You came to show me support? That's what you say, Dad?
Yeah, we're proud of you.
I guess that
When I needed you guys the most, you kicked me out of the house. When I needed your love, you never believed in me. And now you're proud of me because I proved to you guys that I could make it. And Mom, why are you surprised? I always told you I would do this. Well, rather than encourage me, you talked me down, you disencouraged me, you belittled me. And now you want to smile and call me your son and tell me how proud you are of me.
Son, we just didn't know what you were trying to do. We just didn't understand. I mean, how do we know you were going to pull it off? We didn't know.
That it wasn't that you know. You should have believed in me. As my parents, whether I failed or not, it is your job to push me. But you didn't.
Son, please forgive us. We love you. We've always loved you.
Son.
Okay, y'all gotta go.
What are you doing?
Stop.
Son, don't let them do this to us.
It was hard for me. After you put me out, it made it twice as hard for me to achieve my goals.
Son, we're sorry. Please find it in your heart to forgive us.
Son, we didn't mean to do you any harm. We just wanted the best for your future.
I forgive you guys. We have a lot to talk about.
All right, let's go ahead and cut it. All right, so let's talk about this. Now, we've seen the whole video, and I want to ask you guys' opinion on this video in terms of dreams. Now, what do you think about this? Lovely T, what do you think about it?
I think that parenting doesn't come with a handbook. And I think that, you know, as a parent, you always want what's best, you know, for your child. And, you know, I'll speak for myself. Like, I want my son to be in a better position than me, you know? And so it's you know, I'm glad that it ended the way that it ended, in that, you know, the son was open to dialogue and conversation, because it has to be more than just that moment, right? So if there's a history of that's how your relationship play out, whatever it is that that the child is passionate about, you never believe in them, you never, you know, there's no attempt, then yeah, they're gonna be resentful about that. You know, so I don't really think it's a solid black and white issue, you know what I mean? Because I understand both sides. You don't want your child to live some you know, goal that's pie in the sky, you know, because you know it takes, you know, right. Life happens and you got to be able to pay the bills, put a roof over you. You know, there's some fundamental things that you have to be able to do. You know, so, but at the same time, if your child does show a true passion, like you see them putting forth the effort, you see them pouring into it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think the best thing to do is to support it. Try to come to a compromise. Like, okay, I'll pay for your acting classes, but you know, you gotta go to school for something else too, as a plan B, like something, you know what I'm saying, to show that you're open to support them in their dreams.
So what about you, Lady B?
Well, to me, I mean, like, you know, sometimes you want the best for your kids. Like you said, we want the best for our children, you know, but sometimes your kid can grow to resent you a lot of times if it's something that they're passionate about, if they're older. And I'm saying not when they're young and they still underage, but I'm talking about when he was 23 years old. And if you're there to, if they see that you're supportive and you're, you know, and you're not just, I want you to do this, I want you to be a doctor, and I don't want you to be anything else, and you're just taking away that, they might have that God-given talent, that gift that God has placed in deep inside of them, and it may not be being a doctor. A lot of people get in certain positions and they're unhappy, and they wish they never gotten in that position. So to have that parent that's there to support them, you know, help to cultivate that thing that they might have, that passion or that dream, help to cultivate it, but don't just say, well, no, you ain't gonna do this, I want you to do that. So I just think having that support, because that parent, because that child can grow to resent you and say you wasn't there for me. You know, this is what I really want to do. I don't want to go to. What if I don't want to go to college? You know, what if I want to do this? So I think that's a wishy-washy situation.
Okay, for me, I thought the writing was terrible. I thought the whole setup was just a disaster. I thought it had nothing to do. I thought it was selfish, completely selfish. Now let me show you why. Right? Okay, so the first thing was that you're 23. Okay, you're 23 years of age. You don't work. You're a young adult. Almost a full grown man. To some degree, you're a full grown man. Okay, you living in the house, and all you doing from what we seen. Now, I mean, I can only talk about what we seen in the picture, where you were standing in the mirror and you were pursuing something that almost like a basketball career that may never happen. And the chances of you becoming an actor are very slim to none. You get what I mean? Of just making it, and especially $18 million. You get what I mean? As a new actor just stepping out, as I don't know new actors to just automatically go in and get $18 million unless they're A actor, not a D actor, because you just now get into acting. You said 1 year later you make 18 million. So I don't know what happened in that situation. I don't know how that happens. You know what I mean? So to me, the writing was terrible.
Yeah.
Then you turned around. No, I mean it's just a. Then you turn around. Then you turn around, and here's your father telling you about the facts of life, the chances. But now the father was just being a little bit more, he was foreseeing, maybe, I don't know if it was all the way, but he was foreseeing some things in this young man's life that say, hey, listen, you need to get some career going, because that's not guaranteed. And he wasn't lying. It's not guaranteed. Your chances of making 18 million, signing a deal is not something that I will push out to say, hey, listen, parents, let your kids hold on to a dream. Now, here's another thing. They were prepared. They wrote out a check to say this will help you till you get on your feet. Now, that check had to be a nice, decent check to say this check is going to help you. He took the check and he threw it down as though he's saying, I don't want to compromise with you. Then he said, listen to what he said. Then he turned around and said, well, I'll help out around the house and I'll get a job. So you already knew in your mind that you could be working to help going towards helping around the house as well as your career, because you pretty much eating for free. And so you already aware of that, because you automatically, without them saying it, you said, I'll get a job, because you already knew you should have had one. You know what I mean? So and then you turn around and throw the check on the ground and say, I'm gonna move out. Then a year ago, where you don't even contact your parents because you think that they're wrong, but then you sit there in the chair, down there, not in the chair, but in the seat, and you tell your parents that I struggle, you made it hard struggling. That's what life is about. Sometimes it made you get to 18 million. You know what I mean? You knew that go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's why I said I like how they ended, you know, the little movie. I liked how they ended it, because you're right. Like, that push is what, you know, everything that happened to him led him up to that point that he was living in that moment.
Exactly.
So, you know, to honor thy parent, you know what I mean? Like, you just need to be like, you know what? Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you for lifting me.
Out the door.
Exactly.
Because, you know what I'm saying? So, but, you know, he came across as a little, like, you know, spoiled brat a little bit.
Yeah, but then he felt like he owed them. They owed him. Because if you look at it, he made it seem like you owe me. And the parents were like, oh, I'm just so sorry we made this decision. What if you never would have got that contract? What if you never would have got to $18 million? that don't normally happen. So my thing is that
a lot of people like that today that think somebody owes them.
Yeah, but I think in this particular time, I think the writing could have been better descriptive.
I mean, but beyond that, we know.
Yeah, I know.
I know. You got them producer lens.
We're talking about switching that to real life. People out there right now, that might be watching that, feel like their parents don't support them. They just want them to do what they want them to do, and they don't.
I would rather talk to the parents. I think that, for our listening audience, like, we live in a different time now, like we do have to keep them in the concrete, you know what I'm saying? But again, my stance is always like, my son wants to be a gamer. My son is figuring out how to make money off YouTube, and he's only, he's a young teenager. But again, like, the way that you work, the way that you earn, the way that you, just go about, how you're going to build your future is totally different than when we were growing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think, I was talking to the parents, like, be open and just look at and pay attention to the behavior. Like I said earlier, like, if they are really investing, and I don't care if it's basketball, math, athletics, like whatever, band, singing, acting, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have a nephew right now. He was on America's Got Talent in the youth choir.
Oh,
He's
wow.
been on commercials.
Yeah.
But he also is going to Cass Tech, and he's also about to go to med school. Like, this boy is, all-star all around.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm, I know his, parents didn't, discourage his dreams. It just so happened to be in a traditional field.
Right.
But that part of him that was creative, they also supported that. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, parents, be open to what your children say they're passionate about. Be happy that they have a passion, because, idle mind is the devil's playground. You know what I'm saying? So be happy that they're passionate about something, and give them an avenue or pathway to pursue that, while at the same time, because we can walk and chew gum at the same time, keep them in, the concrete.
Right.
So if you say this is what you want to make a living off of, what's your plan?
Right.
So what about that person that has like a 23-year-old living in a house, and they're not really working?
Well, go ahead.
And they're going after these so-called like unreachable type of dreams, or dreams that might take longer, or just, you never know. So what do you do about that?
Well, see, that's where I was like, thought the writing was bad, but because of the fact that this guy is 23, I can see if you're a teenager, you're still in high school, I get that. Then obviously, I by legally law, I have to take care of you anyway. So I might as well help you push those dreams that you have, so one day they'll pay off. I get that. Now at 23,
so you stop supporting them at 23.
Well, you stop. You don't. Well, what it is the full support you stop. Because what happens is you're going to be a crutch now. You're going to lean on me, and you're leaning on me throughout these situations that don't normally just happen so quick or so soon. So here's my thing. I'm thinking, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not really even on the parents. More so am I on the dreamer at 23. I guess my thing is because the parents living their lives. You know what I mean? They at 23, they don't have to give up you, and they don't have to come to you with a plan. They don't have to come to you with anything if they are the ones who are taking care of you, right? So at 23, you should have a plan. And what it is he should have came to his parents, if this was me, and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on, but this is what I can do. You know what I mean? What I need from you is an understanding that I need at least 2 years. Give me a 2-year span. Listen, I will get a job. you know, but I'm going to get a job that it could be loose, where it's going to be something where I could, you know, if I need to go to an audition, I can make it to that audition. So it may not be a job that shows that I'm there 8 hours, which if you see a lot of people that go to California, they'll tell you that they're going to be an actor, but they'll say they're not going to get jobs that they got to be like pretty much there for 8 hours. They'll find work that's, you know, that they can pretty much call off like a Uber or like a what do you call that when you take the food there and drop the food off. Those jobs you just said you get a call. So he didn't show any effort in that. It was like it was all
so he
one
wanted
side
support, but he wasn't doing
it was
anything
one
on
side.
his end.
Yeah, he was a little emotionally immature. That's why I say he came across as a little bratty.
Right.
Which, you know, goes back to
a lot
bad
of people
fighting.
are like that today. A lot of this young generation.
Yeah, he
is
felt like they owed him, though.
Yeah.
And then he said, I struggle, you know, and I struggle even harder. So I would have been like, good. You should.
Well, and I know 2 different people, parents, you know what I'm saying, that have situations where their child is grown, good and grown, like didn't move out until like 24. But like you said, Tone, like there was a plan in play. Maybe they were in school or college, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, but again, and then the other person I know, they have their grown children that live with them. But again, I don't think it's a situation where they just let them sit up and not do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like you were saying, there's rules to this.
Right.
You know, and you got to keep moving forward. But I'm here to support you, but you still got to keep moving forward.
Right.
And you know, maybe in this situation, like you say, it wasn't really good, but it implies that there was a history there, perhaps, that you know that the son took it in the way that he did.
Yeah. So I guess for dreamers, all I'm saying is that if put together a plan.
Yeah.
A plan of action. That's all you have to do. And take that plan to whoever it is that you're living with. It don't matter. Whoever that is that you're living with, take a plan of action and see, do they agree to play within your dreams that far? You know what I mean? So if that's you know, finding work and say, you know, I can contribute towards this if you allow me and give me this amount of time. If I don't do good in this amount of time, then I'm prepared to go to plan B. You know what I mean? Or plan B means I'm gonna have to do something else, whatever that may be. But definitely have a plan in your dreaming. Now this is for adults, young adults.
Yes.
It's not for teenagers in the school. I mean, they doing them, they finding them. But for this type of thing, just have a plan. He didn't have a plan. It's obviously in this particular, guys, you know, if you have to go back and watch the video if you're just not tuning in, but he didn't have a plan. He didn't have a plan. Have a plan and just bring your plan to whoever it is you're living with and discuss that plan. I don't think that the parents was naive in this situation. I think that they knew what life is about. They just told him about life. This is life. I get what you're saying, but this is life, and I need you to deal with this on this situation. You know what I mean? Maybe they could have compromised and said, okay, listen, all right, I see what you're saying, but listen. He did say he was gonna get a job,
and they was like, no, you're gonna get a job and go pay somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
So they should at least say, okay, get the job, and we're gonna give you, you know, some time to see, you know, how everything.
But they was gonna give him some money.
Yeah, but
and that's what I'm saying. Like, what the intentions? You know what I'm saying? Like the way the way that they presented the situation, you know. I could see the intent behind the actions. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we just want you just need to move forward. You stuck. You can't stay here and do because you just gonna stop working and then it's gonna be an excuse. We already been through that. No, you got to go. You know? So and
he ended up winning.
It was clear that it wasn't like we don't believe in you. It was like, no, you gotta grow up a little bit.
Yeah, you got to go up a little bit. And obviously they're saying that he was sitting around the house. He was watching TV. We're doing monologues. This guy's 23. So how many years have you been doing this before this happened? And they seem like they just got tired to say, listen, am I raising you the right way as a full-grown man to say that you can, is life really about that? You have people in the acting business who go sleep in cars and they'll move to California until they really work for that thing. But you sitting at the house, he seemed like he got more hungry when he moved.
He got pushed out.
Yeah, he still had to push towards this
sometimes
thing.
you have to push people. I mean, like young adults, you do have to push them because sometimes they have a lack of zeal.
Yeah.
They no motivation.
Yeah.
You know, they want something, but they don't have that drive. So sometimes you gotta literally kick your foot and you gotta push them. You gotta kick them, you know, for them to do something.
I'm gonna add to that.
It's like, what do you value? Like you as the parent are instilling certain values in your kids. And so when you have when you instill values like a work ethic or study habits or taking care of yourself, like whatever those things are, you know what I'm saying? Like that helps guide your children, you know, that helps guide them. And so when it comes to these things, it's not a surprise that I'm telling you, you got to get a job. You already know that's how this works.
You're right. That
you know what I'm saying?
He already knew he needed a job. He said, well, I'm going to get some and start paying some bit. Yeah, you knew here's the thing, right? Even in that, that's why I when people come to us, our business, and they always want you to, we have different people that will come to us and, or they'll have, I'm talking about dreams. I'm talking about people with dreams. Yeah. And they'll say, could you do this? And I used to do it. I used to help out in those areas. But my mindset would be, well, would you still do this dream if I didn't help you in this type of way? You know what I mean? Like, are you depending your dreams on me making it happen? You get what I mean? So I'll look at you a little sideways because I'm like, well, if you didn't have that situation, if we didn't give you that platform, would you still pursue that dream? Maybe not, because you're looking for me to get you off the ground. And I get in some ways it can be a help.
It does cause some people's dream requires help from
it does,
you know,
it does. But
people.
I'm talking about the people that I've dealt with, I've dealt with. I'm talking about dreams where they trying to, oh, this is something that I want to do, but if you could do this for me. Or you will see people, they'll say, yeah, what can you think you can do? And you tell them, well, I can do this. And they say, yeah, do that. Yeah, if you can do that, do that. Well, what part you gonna play?
Right, what you gonna
do? Yeah, they want they want to lay it in your lap.
Yeah, you can't work harder than
I can't work exactly. So do you really want this as a dream? Is this really your dream if you're depending? So my thing is looking at the young man situation. If you Or did you feel bad because you was getting kicked out of a comfort zone? You were feeling comfortable. You didn't have to worry about food. You didn't have to worry about a place to lay your head. So now you take your time. If you might even turn down certain jobs because you know you can go back to the house. So my thing is, be realistic. When you're making certain dreams and you know you don't have the money, be realistic about your dream, so that it's not just using another person till you make it. Because I mean, 18 million, he didn't necessarily have to get him a dime. You get what I mean? He could have just went on by his business and say, hey, thanks for me being able to lay around on you. You get what I mean? So all I'm saying is just be realistic. That wasn't realistic, the video we showed. Not to me anyway. I don't think that was realistic. But
they were trying to drive a certain message.
They were trying to drive it. But now if you look at those videos, they do have a lot of great videos.
Yeah.
Check their videos out. And all they do is encourage their encouragement videos, and they get high numbers. They videos be hitting in the 100,000s. You know what I mean? So they do. There's something that I actually wanted to get off that you're doing, making those type of videos and putting them up. I've been thinking about that a whole lot. But anyway, guys, we're gonna end the podcast. We just wanted to share that with you and everything.
Yes, good topics. And too bad we missed our guest for this podcast, but the other guest, I knew he was going to be dynamic when you sent the bio.
Yeah.
So he definitely has a strong story to tell, and because he's an insider, and that's what you need. You need the insiders to, you know what I'm saying, come out, because we're on the outside looking in, but they on the inside. They see a whole different perspective. You know,
they see a whole different perspective. That's right. And great interview.
Yeah.
He was diving in, diving out. You know what I mean?
He's a
but
talker, so
he stayed with. We didn't really stay on topic, but you
right,
know, we had to kind of like pull them and everything. But but great interview. And guys, listen, we would love for you to like and share this video.
Yes,
definitely
please.
like and share
Like
it.
and share.
It's two videos that's interesting on here that you will want to watch: Dreaming and the state of mind of law enforcement, with a great person, retired police officer. Check out the video, and it's the first video, and then this will be the second one if you already just tuning in. So guys, we appreciate you.
A lovely day.
Listen, you still got time to enjoy your weekend, your Sunday or whatever. Hopefully the weekend. Hopefully the whole weekend to be lovely, right?
That's right.
Hopefully the whole weekend. So
lovely day.
Guys, listen, we'll see you next week. We'll see you next week. Sunday. And guys, like I said, have a lovely day.
Have a lovely day.
Maybe we'll get the music and play it at the end of the video.